Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. I hope that you are all well. This is where I talk about the books that I'm reading. I like to read diverse books and I highlight Canadian literature. If you are new, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. Today I am going to be talking about the books that I hauled in August. I have been keeping my hauls to a minimum if I can, but this month that kind of went out the window. I have 12 books to share with you, and as usual I am going to start with the books that I received from publishers. So the first 3 books I received from ZG Stories, and the first book is from Douglas and McIntyre, and it is Once Upon an Effing Time by Buffy Cram. This will be published on October 7th, and this book explores a complex mother-daughter relationship. It's described as quirky, thrilling, and darkly funny. Those are all things that I like. The story takes place in 1969, and it is narrated by an 8-year-old girl named Elizabeth. And it says that she has a choice to make: to be disabled by the circumstances of her own botched birth, or to become extraordinary. And it also seems that mental illness might be a topic as well. Elizabeth learns to adopt different personas to deal with her neglectful mother, and she lives multiple lives. So this story seems like it's going to be entertaining, funny, but also heartbreaking. The next 2 books are from Book Hug Press, and coming out on September 12th is Her Body Among Animals by Paola Ferrante. This is a debut short story collection that kind of merges genres like horror, fairy tales, pulp culture, and sci-fi. And the stories take on topics of ecological anxiety, mental health, toxic masculinity, and women's bodies. Then next up is a poetry collection called People You Know, Places You've Been, and this is by Hana Shafi. This will be published on October 12th, and I've read Hana Shafi's debut poetry collection, It Begins with the Body, and I really liked it. And Hana Shafi also illustrates her books, and I've also read Small Broken Kind of Dirty, which was a compilation of essays. And this collection is about everyday connections that we make to the people and places that we encounter, and it asks the question, what if seemingly mundane places are actually the foundations of who you are? And I thumbed through the book, and I can already see that it's a bit different than her previous books. The illustrations are much more vibrant and colorful. Let's just see a couple others. They're more bold than her previous illustrations, which I kind of like. Let me find another one here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this collection is all about. Here, I'll show you one more. Next, I have 2 books that were gifted to me from Lindy, from Lindy's Magpie Reads. And Lindy reads a lot of Canadian literature, and she very kindly sent me 2 books. So first is Really Good, Actually, by Monica Heisy. This is a debut that I am hoping will be a fun read. It is about Maggie, who is 29 years old, newly divorced, broke, and just feels like she's not going anywhere. And Maggie is in search of joy and has friends who support her. It's supposed to be funny, so I hope that's true. Plus, I love this cover. And then the other book that Lindy sent to me was To the Forest by Anais Barbeau-Lavalette, and this is translated from the French by Rhonda Mullins. And Lindy spoke so eloquently about this book. This is an author that I really want to read, and the story is about 2 families who go to the forest at the beginning of the pandemic. And because they don't have any connections to the world, like they once did, they become more connected to nature. I love that idea. and I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. The next book is from the Republic of Consciousness. Their book this month is Reverse Engineering 2. It's by various authors. So this is a collection of 7 short stories from different authors, and it asks the authors about writing that doesn't come from choices, which sounds interesting. So this is a second volume of celebrating short stories. And then from And Other Stories is Traces of Enayat, and this is by Iman Mersal, and it's translated from the Arabic by Robin Moger. And this is about 2 women writers who lived in Cairo in the 1960s, and one in the 1960s, one in the 1990s. And one of the women comes across the other woman's novel and wonders about this writer and what happened to her. So this seems to have some biographical or autobiographical content. I'm not sure exactly, but it does sound interesting, and I love this cover. These next books are all books that I picked up while visiting bookstores and used bookstores. So I picked up Bad Cree by Jessica Johns, and I have already read it, so I will be talking about it, more in my monthly wrap-up. But for now, I will say that this is a horror story about a young woman who is experiencing dreams after her sister dies. And then the next book I picked up, again, Lindy, she's an influencer. So Lindy and I read Reproduction by Ian Williams in July, and I still hadn't read his nonfiction book. So I picked up Disorientation by Ian Williams. And this is a collection of essays about Ian Williams's own experience of being a Black man in the world. So it brings up the moment when a child realizes that they are Black. It's characteristics of institutional whiteness, racism, blame culture, and systemic structures. I love Ian Williams' writing, so I can't wait to read these essays. Next, I picked up a book that probably needs no introduction, The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. I've only read O'Farrell's memoir so far, and I really want to read The Marriage Portrait and Hamnet. I was able to get this, so I will start here. But this is about politics and marriage in Italy in the 1500s. I'm actually really looking forward to how O'Farrell will take this history and give the women of the time a voice. This book has a lot of hype, and I'm hoping that it lives up to that hype. Another favorite author of mine is Michelle Good. Michelle Good is the author of 5 Little Indians, which I've talked about a million times. And I was able to pick up Truth Telling, 7 Conversations about Indigenous Life in Canada. So this is a collection of essays that explores historical and contemporary Indigenous experience in Canada. And it kind of gives me the same vibes as Lee Miracle's Conversations with Canadians. So these essays include topics like racism and cultural pillaging, as well as the value of Indigenous lives and the importance of Indigenous literature. The last book on the list I picked up because Kim from Middle of the Book March is doing a read-along of this with her Blind Eye book club, and I may join in if it works out, and that is Love Medicine by Louise Erdrich. I have yet to read anything by Louise Erdrich. It's shocking to me. And this is her first novel, so it seems like a good place to start. This book also starts a series. It's about 2 families, the Lamartines and the Capshaws. And I believe that this is told in interconnected stories, which I love if it's done well. So I have high hopes for this one. So these are all of the books that I hauled in August. Thank you to ZG Stories, Douglas and McIntyre, and Book Hug Press for the books that they sent me. Thanks to Lindy for the gifted books. Really appreciate it. Please let me know if you have read any of these, or if you are interested in any of them, What books did you haul in August that you are the most excited to read? I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.